Well, in this place called Paradise, the real name Siesta Key, there was a kind of, I guess what you might say, a double tragedy. See, what happened was a hurricane, which, to be fair, Florida has a lot of hurricanes. A hurricane came through. People were having a really difficult time. They're like, all right, we need to rebuild after this, like we always do. Like, you know, this is one that we got, and it was a pretty bad one. We're having a lot of trouble. They got rescue crews. Why is that so hard to say? Rescue crews, there we go, all mobilized. And then another hurricane hit. In this place, as everyone was trying to kind of clean up and rebuild from the first one, the second one, equally strong, actually even a little bit more strong if I remember correctly, tore through the same area. This has caused a lot of people to lose their life as well as lose their property, their home, and has kind of put into question why live in these sort of areas. As one of the residents is quoted to say, I believe is what the title is, paradise is still paradise and I don't want to leave it. So apparently these people who live in Siesta Key love this area. They like when it's not a hurricane, they like it. It's worth the trouble to stay there. It's worth the possible danger. It's worth the extra insurance money. They're paying over, I think, $1,000 more than average just on insurance because of the high probability of some of these natural disasters. And with climate change happening, it does seem like these might be more frequent than in the past. And it will continue to raise that question, why live in these areas? The governor of Florida is pretty positive. He said these areas people do love to live in, and although they're going to try their best to kind of bolster these areas and support them, you know, there's always going to be those sort of dangers out there. But yeah, living in a place like that, there's a lot of risk and a lot of rewards, I suppose.
I suppose, yeah, it's can you weigh the two off against one another? Yes, it's terrible when your house gets destroyed. But most of the time, it's absolute paradise.
Yeah, and I guess it helps, like minimalism has been kind of a new trend, right? So it kind of helps like people stay minimalistic.
Yes, don't overdo it on the decor because it might get blown away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it regulates people's sort of desire to buy.
Pros and cons.
All right, let's get into a couple questions. What do you think could be some of the challenges of rebuilding where disasters are frequent?
I guess, as you said, maybe the challenge is trying to think practical before beautiful or just convenient. Like you have to be perhaps a bit more ruthless and say, look, I know this particular design of house looks great, but it's just, it's more likely to get blown down, or we need to go for the one that is the most wind resistant, or I don't know, whatever the protections can be for hurricane damage. You have to be extra prepared, get all your like escape plans, because it's one thing your house blows down, but it's another if you actually die in that. So you need to be extra prepared to leave when necessary. Yeah,
are the roads going to flood? You know, things like that are things you have to think about.
So yeah, again, also perhaps don't go crazy with the extra decorations on the walls and the extra furniture and the extra whatever garden items, because they're going to be the first things to go. So minimal, practical.
I guess that's a good lifestyle.
Yeah, I think especially if you're into nature, you're not interested in what the house looks like anyway. You're going to be out on the beach, under the palm tree, as I described earlier.
You're in paradise. Yeah, exactly. Now, I did mention that they have a lot higher insurance costs. How do you think this might affect the residents in the area?
Well, again, you're going to have to be rich. But I thought that anyway. I thought to live, on the Florida Keys, the Key West and all this, it's all like $1 million, $5 million houses, and only the super rich can afford to live this way, again, because of high house prices, high insurance costs. If you want to live in paradise, you've got to pay paradise prices.
if you want to build a bunker to go against the hurricanes, your house is literally like a steel cylinder.
I mean, maybe they could explore these kind of options. You know, if you love nature as it is, leave the beach and everything perfectly natural and pristine, and you build a kind of underground palace for yourself.
Little hatch.
Yeah, like in Lost. You just go down the hatch.
Oh, gosh.
That's an old reference for you.
Gotta press a button. Do you still remember the numbers?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
Do you? Also, do you remember the vocabulary? Because it is pretty good. And so go ahead and go down, over, above, beyond, below, across, all the prepositions, and study it and use it in your everyday English. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Appliance.
Appliance.
Sentiment.
Sentiment.
Outnumbered.
Outnumbered.
Debris.
Debris.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.